The Panthers 2023 season is done. And if you've been listening to the show this week, first of all, thank you. If you haven't, you can catch all much of our content, I should say, on our YouTube page, 99.9 The Fan. Go ahead, search and subscribe to the channel. We would greatly appreciate it. Comment, like, all those sorts of things. Like I said, we'd appreciate it. But this week, I've essentially said one of the few bright spots of the 2023 season is that it becomes the 2024 season. And for the Panthers, because they were so bad, they got to turn that page early. Week 11, they fired Frank Reich. That means it's all about the rest of the year. The rest of the year becoming about 2024 is a better way to put that. So I was kind of excited that they would hit the ground running with their ducks in a row, right? With all of their business organized when it comes to hiring their next coach and obviously once they fired Scott Fitterer, hiring their next GM. That was an advantage. In a world where the Panthers have almost no advantages, that was an advantage. It is absolutely infuriating. It is malpractice. It is negligent what we're seeing from them over the last 24 to 48 hours as far as who they're interviewing. Adam Schefter, NFL Insider today, reported that the Panthers want to interview Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson is the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator. Here's why that is so horrendous. The Eagles were 10-1. When they were 10-1, right after Frank Reich was fired, I floated Brian Johnson as a name that they might want to look into because the Eagles were 10-1. Their offense was cruising. A.J. Brown was gonna break records. Jalen Hurts was going to be an MVP candidate. All of these things. The tush push. The brotherly shove. Do you remember the fun part of the Eagles season where we were debating whether it was called the tush push or the brotherly shove? Well, the interesting part is since that moment, since they were 10-1, their offense has fallen apart. Their offense has been atrocious. Now, they still have A.J. Brown. They still have Devontae Smith. They still have Jalen Hurts. They still have Kelsey at center. They still have that dominant offensive line. They still have a lot of talent, but their offense has fallen apart. Why would you want that guy to be in the running for your head coaching job right now? And while everyone else was worried about their own season, right, while there's 7 openings now in the NFL since Pete Carroll was relieved of head coaching duties in Seattle, while the other 6 were worried about their season and trying to make the playoffs and trying to finish strong, while all of that was going on, I guess the other 6 would have been the better way to put that, you could have been watching. You could have had your earmarked guys, Brian Johnson, someone you want to watch, and I can't imagine you watched the Eagles offense over the last 7 games or 6 games. I can't imagine you watched the Eagles offense over the last 6 games and at any point in time thought we have to talk to that guy about our head coaching job. Dan Orlovsky of ESPN is putting out seemingly a video every single day about how atrocious the game plan is for the Philadelphia Eagles and how he believes they're essentially wasting a Super Bowl level talent of roster on offense by not scheming well enough. Why do you want to talk to that guy about your head coaching job? There's 10, 11, 12, 13, 50 other people you could consider. You've had weeks to eliminate him. And I understand the element of no stone left unturned. We just want to talk to him. But here's the thing. That's not an unturned stone. Hey, we should consider Brian Johnson. All right, let's consider him. Let's watch the game. Oh, look, his offense stinks. All right, we don't want to hire him. That's a stone turned over. Mission accomplished, on to the next. How are you not there yet? How? And the thing is, he might have the greatest explanation in the world, right? Who knows if you bring him in, he goes, oh, you know what, Jalen, this is all completely hypothetical and made up, so don't go, I'm not reporting. Oh, Jalen Hurts has been so bad, his shoulder is falling apart, and he's playing through it, and that's why our offense stinks. Maybe he has the best excuse in the world. I think he could find somebody that doesn't need the best excuse in the world. Go find an offense that's cruising. Go find an offense that's working. There's a lot of really good football minds out there. It's your advantage is you should have been crossing guys off your list for the last 2 or 3 months. So by the time you get to this point, you're tunnel vision, you're narrow focused. Hey, these 3 are our main targets. These next 3 are our fallbacks, and then these next 3 are our break glass in case of emergency. That's where you should be by now. Then the interviews can sort out where they are in their tiers, but you have to know what you want. Bringing in Brian Johnson is not, and I see they brought in Evero, their defensive coordinator. They're going to bring in Chris Tabor, their interim head coach, have both of them interview for the job. Those to me are ceremonial, right? Those are just that's protocol, right? You're going to interview them, that's fine. Bringing in somebody else's offensive coordinator or zooming in somebody else's offensive coordinator is not just protocol. You're going to have to do some research. If you did the research, it would tell you don't want the guy. And who knows? Maybe Brian Johnson will turn around the Eagles' offense next year, and they'll go and Jalen Hurts will be an MVP.
Or they go hot in the playoffs. You never know.
Maybe. But then he could become a candidate.
Yeah.
Right now, why? Right? How many times does somebody in sports say you are what your record says you are? It's a production-based business. What have you done for me lately? Before the Panthers are going to go, well, his record recently isn't that good. His production is pretty darn low, and recently he's been bad. Let's get that guy in for an interview. Goodness gracious.
It's like, and how much of it as well is the fact that he does have stud players on his team. Like sometimes that's part of that too. It's like, you don't have a great game plan, but you just have better players.
Thank you. If your offense fell apart with Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Swift, who's playing well in that offensive line, okay, it took 11 weeks for your offense to fall apart. It'll take 11 minutes for your offense to fall apart if you have whatever the Panthers are going to put together next year, which will not be that Murderers Row 1927 Yankees of talent that the Eagles had. They were in the Super Bowl last year. Not a full year ago, they were in the Super Bowl.
Now they're limping in.
Now they're limping into the playoffs, and because like their offense isn't well schemed. Why? Riddle me that. That's a simple question. Sometimes we ask deep questions. Sometimes we ask simple questions. You're bringing in Brian Johnson for an interview. Why? If somebody can give me an answer to that one, I'd love to hear it.